Well, we'll start off with it's pretty unreal that nobody paid attention to the facts of this case, that nobody can remember who a victim is and what they look like. I know every day because I see my beautiful daughter's face around our home in my dreams, and I miss her very much. I'm going to read you a prepared statement. Today's ruling was yet another gut punch for so many of us who devastatingly lost our loved ones on that tragic Valentine's Day at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. 17 beautiful lives were cut short by murder. Heinous, pre-planned, torturous murder. And the monster that killed them gets to live another day. While this sentence fails to punish the perpetrator to the fullest extent of the law, it will not stop the mission of the families of Stand With Parkland to effect positive change at the federal, state, and local level to prevent school shooting tragedies from shattering other American families.
Tony, what did you think when you were hearing those verdicts being read? As it sunk in that this was a life sentence, not a death sentence recommendation, what were you and your wife Jennifer and everybody else thinking?
Well, I can only speak for myself and my wife since we've talked about it, but I'm sure some of the other families had similar thoughts. How can the mitigating factors make this shooter, who they recognized committed this terrible act, acts plural, shooting some victims more than once on a pass, pressing the barrel of his weapon to my daughter's chest, that doesn't outweigh that poor little, what's his name, had a tough upbringing? I mean, society has to really look and re-examine who and what is a victim. Not everyone's a victim. My beautiful Gina, the other sons, daughters, spouses, and fathers, they were the victims here. Our justice system should have been used to punish this shooter to the fullest extent of the law, not as an act of revenge, but to protect our nation's schools, to stop others from attacking the future of this country when they attack our schools.
Do you not see how it's possible that one juror could have found one mitigating factor?
If one juror was honest when they chose the jury and they said they could see their way to the death penalty, and unanimously they all found that the aggravators are proven beyond a reasonable doubt, I think that one juror possibly perjured him or herself.
What message do you have to this jury, and does this send the wrong message to the nation? The nation is watching.
Well, again, what do we want as a society? Do we want people who commit atrocious acts against the future of our country to be punished to the fullest extent of the law? Or do we want to excuse them because they had a tough time growing up? I promise you, throughout this nation, there were people who had a more difficult time growing up than this shooter, who have been failed by the school system more than this shooter, and who have had less services provided than this shooter. And they did not choose to enter a school with a high-powered weapon and pull the trigger 130 9 individual times. That is cruel. That is thoughtful. And that should have been punished to the maximum extent of the law.
Tony, you
We
mentioned
know
this in
that
your statement.
we know that the gunman studied other shootings, and now he gets life. For the next teenage gunman or the next young person who decides to get a gun and study and follow, what does a sentence like this do for the safety of other children?
I think that it puts all school children in jeopardy. It certainly sends the wrong message. This shooter did not deserve compassion. Did he show the compassion to Gina when he put the weapon against her chest and chose to pull that trigger? Or any of the other 3 times that he shot her? Was that compassionate? When we heard in his own words what he said regarding other victims, Meadow Pollack, Carol Cochran, Peter Wang. We heard what he said, what he thought. Was that a sympathetic figure?
Sorry, if they have done anything differently, I mean, in retrospect, you wish they had acted differently either during the case or when they were insisting on going to trial?
I will say that the state did an excellent job. I haven't heard one of our families complain about the case they put on. They were factual. They were realistic. Their rebuttal was excellent. I just think people forget what facts are these days.
Tony, you said this in your statement a little bit, but what does this do for your efforts outside the courtroom? How much work you've been putting in at state, national level? What is this? Does this reinvigorate what you're doing?
Well, Families with Stand with Parkland have always been dedicated to preventing other families from suffering through these horrific tragedies. Perhaps now we'll have to fight to make sure that victim impact statements, real victims, are taken into account. The real victim statements when you go through a penalty phase, so that we can all remember our loved ones, the kind, compassionate, innocent students and teachers that went to school that day and never returned to our loving families.
Are you going to be here for Scott Peterson's trial?
I've had enough of the courtroom for a while, but I imagine that we will come back and do what we did here. We will all represent our loved ones. My wife Jennifer and I will make sure that we represent our beautiful, forever 14-year-old daughter Gina in any court proceeding. We will continue to put forth our efforts to secure her legacy through both Stand with Parkland and the work we do locally, statewide, and nationally, as well as the Gina Montalto Memorial Foundation, which we set up to keep Gina's light shining in this world, because she should not have been extinguished by this monster.
We do live in a country, in a state, in a county where, a sizable part of the population does not believe the death penalty, that they believe that life in prison is fine for. Could you explain?
I'll trade places with you.
Could you explain?
I'll trade places with you. That's why.
Could you explain why?
I've answered it 3 times. Trade places with me, you'll change your mind.
Does this change the way you feel about people in Broward County? I mean, do you feel like the community is letting you down in some way?
Yeah. Gina, my beautiful, kind, bubbly, bright daughter, deserved better than she got from the schools, and certainly from this jury, from our sheriff's office. She deserved better. even from the FBI who let us down. Let's not forget all the failures that led to this day. But the failures wouldn't have mattered if the shooter didn't choose to pull that trigger 139 times, to make a voluntary effort to pull that trigger, spewing death from that gun every time he pulled the trigger. Anything else?
Thank you so much.
Thanks, folks.